In the heart of the Arabian desert, where dunes once stretched untouched for centuries, a new vision is being carved into the earth, one that promises to reshape the future of civilization. A linear city, 170 kilometers long, 200 meters wide, 500 meters high, zero cars, zero emissions, powered entirely by clean energy. Welcome to The Line, Saudi Arabia's most ambitious urban experiment and the crown jewel of its NEOM megaproject. But as ground breaks on the city of the future, the world is asking, is this a sustainable utopia or a dystopian illusion? The line was unveiled to the world in January 2021 by Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. It was introduced not as a mere development, but as a revolutionary rethinking of urban life.
البشر يتنفسون هواء ملوث. لماذا نقبل أن نضحي بالطبيعة في سبيل التنمية؟ ولماذا يتوفى 7 مليون إنسان سنويا بسبب التلوث؟ ولماذا نفقد 1 مليون إنسان سنويا بسبب الحوادث المرورية؟ ولماذا نقبل أن تهدر سنين من حياة الإنسان بالتنقل؟ لذلك نحن بحاجة إلى تجديد مفهوم المدن، إلى مدن مستقبلية. اليوم بصفتي رئيس مجلس إدارة نيوم أقدم لكم ذا لاين، مدينة مليونية بطول 170 كيلو تحافظ على 95% من الطبيعة في أراضي نيوم، 0 سيارات، 0 شوارع، و0 انبعاثات كربونية. تستطيع أن تقضي حوائجك اليومية بمدة مشي أقصاها 5 دقائق، وتستطيع أن تصل من أبعد نقطة إلى أبعد نقطة في 20 دقيقة.
This redesign centers around one radical idea. Cities should prioritize people, not cars. The line will be built as a series of modular urban units, each self-sustaining, ultra-connected and embedded within a mirrored skyscraper wall stretching across the desert. At full scale, the line aims to house 9 million people within a footprint of just 34 square kilometers. That's the population of New York City packed into a city the width of a football field. The city's layers will stack vertically, public parks, walkways, residential units, workplaces, all connected by ultra-high-speed transit that allows residents to traverse the entire city in just 20 minutes. But what makes this more than a fantasy is its economic engine, Vision 2030, Saudi Arabia's blueprint to diversify its oil-reliant economy. Funded by the Saudi Public Investment Fund, the line is a piece of a much larger 1 trillion vision for NEOM, a gigaproject to transform the kingdom into a high-tech tourism and green energy powerhouse. The initial phase alone will cost over 320 billion, with 160 billion coming directly from state sources. Saudi Arabia transferred 12 billion in Aramco shares and issued the first Saudi Riyal denominated bonds in history to bridge the funding gap. Yet, this comes when oil prices are volatile and the nation forecasts a $27 billion budget deficit by 2025. Critics argue that investing in futurist cities while cutting public spending elsewhere is risky at best.
In my opinion, this is quite a normal process for a country that is moving away from a reliance on oil. And yet still has that heavy reliance on oil. We know that there are fiscal pressures. Those fiscal pressures have come and gone over the years, depending on where production numbers are, where prices are. But what we do know also is that Saudi Arabia in the past has always been able to adjust. It's either on the fiscal side, we've seen Saudi Arabia being exceptional in terms of putting things in place like wage freezes and other things that other countries would find very, very difficult to do. So it's got that flexibility in its policy-making environment that other countries, particularly developed countries and Western democracies, don't have. And so that adjustment gives us that ability to adjust gives us a huge amount of comfort that Saudi Arabia is able to deal with whatever challenges it's facing. That's number one. Number two, if we look at Saudi Arabia's balance sheet position, we're talking about a country that has 30% debt to GDP ratio. Yes, it's issuing more in international markets, and I think that creates questions around how much Saudi risk markets can absorb. But in terms of capacity to bear more debt, and it's second to none in the world.
But the line is not just about economics. It's a geopolitical maneuver designed to reposition Saudi Arabia as a regional and global powerhouse. NEOM's location near the borders of Egypt and Jordan is no accident. It places Saudi Arabia at the intersection of 3 continents. Infrastructure plans include a causeway connecting NEOM to Egypt across the Red Sea, positioning the line as a new gateway to global trade. But it's also about soft power. The line is designed to compete with global innovation hubs like Silicon Valley and regional players like Dubai. NEOM is Saudi Arabia's diplomatic calling card, an invitation to international investors, scientists, and governments to see the kingdom not as a petrostate, but as a beacon of 21st century innovation. The line's developers promises a net zero carbon footprint, no roads, no cars, no commutes, powered entirely by solar, wind, and green hydrogen. The line is also a testbed for zero-gravity urbanism. That means stacking life vertically, homes on top of parks, schools above offices, connected by autonomous AI systems, managing everything from water flow to energy demand. It's also a climate strategy. By concentrating human life into a narrow corridor, 95% of the surrounding NEOM region will remain untouched, preserving ecosystems and reducing sprawl. But not everyone sees the line as progress. Human rights groups say it's being built on displacement, repression, and silence.
The men were arrested in 2020 for protesting against being evicted to make way for the futuristic city of NEOM, a pet project of Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, known as MBS. Shadli Ataullah and Ibrahim al-Hawitat of the Hawitat tribe were sentenced by a Saudi criminal court earlier this month, a rights group said. Their brother, Abdurrahim al-Wahitat, was shot by Saudi special forces in April 2020 after he criticized the compulsory eviction order on social media, accusing Saudi Arabia of state terrorism. Any form of opposition to Saudi Arabia's royal family is punishable by death or lengthy jail.
Then there's the environmental cost. The embodied carbon in constructing over 500-meter mirrored skyscrapers 170 kilometers long could take decades to offset, if ever. And the surveillance question looms large. The line will collect real-time data on every resident through sensors, cameras, and biometric systems. In an authoritarian context, critics warn that this could create the most surveyed city in human history. So where does this leave us? The line is a once-in-a-century gamble, a collision of ambition and ethics, ecology and economics. If successful, it could offer a blueprint for sustainable smart cities around the globe. If not, it could stand as a monument to excess, the failed dreams of a nation trying to reinvent itself. But one thing is sure, the line has already reshaped the conversation about cities, climate, and the future. Now the world is watching to see if it can reshape reality. What do you think? Is the line a bold step towards a better future, or an authoritarian mirage in mirrored walls? Drop a thought in the comments below and subscribe for more deep dives into the world's most ambitious projects. And don't forget to hit the bell icon. Bye bye!